The sky was dark, covered with heavy clouds. The wind carried dust across the village square. In the center, a young alien girl stood in chains. Her name was Aelara. Her arms were tied behind her back, her feet locked in iron cuffs. The people of the village gathered around her, their faces hard and cold. No one spoke to her. No one called her by name. The crowd shouted, "Traitor, liar, shame!" Their voices mixed like a storm. Children hid behind their mothers, while men picked up stones from the ground. Aelara did not cry. Her face was pale, her body weak, but her eyes still burned with something stronger than fear. She looked at the faces around her, faces she once trusted, faces that once smiled at her. Now those same faces were full of hate. The first stone hit her shoulder. She staggered but did not fall. Another stone struck her side. A sharp pain ran through her ribs. Still, she stood tall. She whispered, so soft only she could hear, "I did nothing wrong." But the crowd did not care. They wanted her to break, to scream, to beg for forgiveness. Yet she gave them nothing. The village elder raised his hand. He was tall, with deep lines on his face, his eyes full of cold judgment. "For your crime," he declared, "you will be punished. You will remain here in chains with no food and no water. The people will turn their backs. No one will help you. You will fade away, and your memory will fade with you." The crowd cheered. Some clapped, others threw more stones. The sound of metal chains rattled as Aelara fell to her knees. The elder turned away. The villagers followed him. One by one, they left the square. Their voices grew distant. Soon, only silence remained. Night fell. The air grew cold. Aelara sat on the hard ground, her body bruised, her lips dry. She lifted her head to the sky. The stars were hidden by thick clouds. She remembered when she was a child, how she used to dream of flying beyond those stars. She once believed the universe was full of light and hope. Now that dream felt far away. Her stomach ached from hunger. Her throat burned from thirst. Every breath was heavy, every heartbeat slow. But inside her, something still refused to die. She whispered again, "I am not guilty." The next morning, the sun rose over the hills. People walked past the square. Farmers carried tools. Traders opened their shops. Children played. None of them looked at her. None of them offered a drop of water. It was as if she did not exist. Every face was turned away. Even those who once called her friend did not stop. Even the boy she once saved from drowning stared at the ground as he walked past. Her heart ached more than her wounds. She could not understand. Why would they all betray her? Why did no one speak for her? Hours passed. The sun grew hotter. The chains burned against her skin. Flies gathered around her wounds. Her body begged her to give up, but her mind held on. She remembered whispers she had overheard, strange voices in the council chamber, dark secrets hidden in the shadows. She had seen something she was not supposed to see. That was why they punished her. That was why they wanted her silenced. But she could not tell anyone. Not here, not now. So she stayed silent. That night, she heard laughter from the houses. Families shared food. Children sang songs. The smell of roasted meat filled the air. Alara's stomach twisted in pain, but she clenched her teeth. She would not beg. The moonlight fell on her chains, making them shine like silver. She thought of her mother, long gone. She thought of the promise she once made, to fight for truth, no matter the cost. Her eyes closed. Her body swayed. For a moment, she thought she might fall into the darkness forever. But a sound broke the silence. Footsteps. P.S. Slow, careful footsteps. Someone was walking toward her. Her eyes opened, weak but sharp. She saw a shadow in the distance. A figure moved closer. Not one of her people. The shape was different. Taller, strange clothes, a strange walk. It was a human. A traveler, dusty from the road, carrying a small pack. He stopped when he saw her. His eyes widened with shock. He looked around, then stepped closer. "Who did this to you?" he whispered. Alara's lips parted, but no sound came out. Her throat was too dry. The man frowned. He looked at her chains, at her wounds. His hands tightened into fists. No one else was watching. The village was asleep. Only the wind and the moon kept witness. The human knelt beside her. "Don't worry," he whispered. "I'll help you." For the first time in days, Aelara's eyes softened. A spark of hope lit inside her chest. But deep down, she knew helping her would bring danger. Morning light crept over the village once more. The sun rose high, bright and golden, but for Aelara it felt like a cruel eye staring down from the sky. She was still chained in the square, her skin bruised, her lips cracked from thirst. The iron cuffs had left deep marks on her wrists and ankles. Every small movement made them cut deeper. She tried to lift her head, but the weight of hunger pressed her down. Around her, the village came alive again. People opened their doors, children ran through the streets, merchants shouted about fresh goods, but no one looked at her. No one spoke her name. It was as if she were invisible. The silence was worse than the pain. Aelara could endure the stones, the heat, the cold, but the silence, the turning of faces, the ignoring of her suffering, cut into her soul like a knife. Once these people had sung songs of her bravery. Once children had chased after her, asking her to tell them stories of the stars. Now, they acted as though she had never existed. A young boy walked past carrying bread in his hands. He glanced at her chains, his eyes full of fear. His small fingers trembled. For a moment, it looked like he might run to her, might offer her a piece. But then his mother called his name sharply. He lowered his head and hurried away. Her stomach growled. Her throat begged for water. Still, she kept silent. She refused to beg. By noon, the heat was heavy. Sweat dripped down her face, stinging her cuts. She tried to remember the taste of water, but the memory was fading. Her mind drifted, slipping between dreams and reality. In her dreams, she heard the council chamber again. She saw the dark figures whispering, their words sharp and heavy with secrets. She saw their hands exchanging strange tokens, glowing faintly with power. She had only glimpsed it for a moment, but that moment had sealed her fate. She had seen what they wanted hidden, and for that, they had chained her. The villagers whispered when they thought she could not hear. She brought shame. She betrayed us. Better to let her starve than risk more lies. But Aelara knew the truth. They were not afraid of her lies. They were afraid of her voice, afraid of the truth escaping her lips. Still, she stayed silent. Not because she wanted to, but because her body was too weak to speak. That night, the square was empty again. The moonlight stretched across the stones, painting the chains in silver. The village was alive with laughter and music, but none of it reached her. She leaned back against the cold stone pillar. Her breaths were shallow, uneven. She closed her eyes, letting the night sounds wash over her. Then she heard something different, a soft rustle, a careful step. Her eyes opened slowly. Once again, the shadow of the human traveler appeared. He moved quietly, looking around as if afraid of being caught. He knelt beside her, holding a small flask. "Drink," he whispered. The smell of water hit her nose. Her body trembled. Her lips touched the flask, and cool liquid slid down her throat. It burned at first, then soothed her like gentle fire. She wanted more, but he pulled it back. "Not too fast," he warned softly. "Your body is weak." For the first time in days, a tear rolled down her cheek, not from pain, but from the kindness of a stranger. "Why are you here?" she managed to whisper. Her voice was broken, like a cracked shell. The human's eyes searched hers. "Because leaving you here is wrong." She shook her head weakly. "If they see you, they will punish you too." He glanced at the dark houses around them. "Then let them. I will not turn away." Her heart trembled at his words. Why would a stranger risk so much for her? He looked at her chains. "Why do they hate you?" he asked. She closed her eyes. She wanted to tell him. She wanted to scream the truth to the stars, but her voice failed. She whispered only a few words. "I saw what I should not have." His brow furrowed. "What did you see?" But she shook her head. "Not here. Not now." He stayed a little longer, watching her. His face was troubled, caught between pity and anger. Then he stood, stepping back into the shadows. "Rest," he said. "I'll return." Her lips parted, as if to tell him not to come back, but the words never came. Her strength was gone. She lowered her head, letting the darkness take her. The next morning, she woke to find the villagers staring. Someone had seen the marks of water on her lips. The elder's cold eyes narrowed. "Who broke the silence?" he asked the crowd. No one answered. But Aelara's heart pounded. The human had returned water to her once. He might return again, and if the elder discovered it, both of them would suffer. The chains rattled as she shifted. Her body was weak, but her spirit whispered to her, "Hold on." She did not know why, but for the first time since her punishment began, she felt a small spark of hope. The third day of punishment began with a cold wind. The square was quiet, the air heavy with dust. Aelara lay against the stone pillar, her body weak, her skin pale. The chains had rubbed her wrists raw. Each breath felt heavier than the last. The villagers passed by as always. They did not speak to her. They did not look at her. To them, she was already gone. But someone was watching. From the edge of the village, a man stood still. His clothes were torn from travel, his boots covered in dust. His face carried the marks of long journeys, but his eyes, sharp, human eyes, were full of fire. His name was Daniel. He had walked across deserts, rivers, and broken lands. He had seen many villages, many alien faces, but he had never seen something like this. A young girl in chains, left to starve while her own people turned away. He stepped closer. Elara noticed him. At first, she thought he was another villager, another face ready to ignore her. But his steps were different. His eyes did not turn away. They locked on hers, filled not with hate, but with questions. For a moment, she felt her heart beat faster. Daniel knelt beside her. His shadow fell over her chains. "Why are you here?" he asked softly. His voice was low, careful. Elara's lips trembled. Her throat was too dry, her voice too broken. She tried to speak, but only a whisper came. "Punished." Daniel frowned. "For what?" She closed her eyes. Truth. The villagers noticed him now. Eyes from doorways followed his every move. Whispers spread like fire. Outsider. Human. Why does he speak to her? The elder appeared at the edge of the square, his cold gaze sharp as a blade. He stepped forward, his voice cutting the air. "Traveler, you do not belong here." Daniel rose to his feet, but his eyes stayed on Elara. "Why do you leave her in chains?" The elder's lips curled. "She betrayed us. Her punishment is just." Daniel's jaw tightened. What crime could deserve this? The elder's voice grew louder, reaching the ears of the crowd. "She is cursed with lies. She saw things no, yet meant to be seen. She brought shame upon us. Let her chains teach her silence." The villagers nodded, their faces blank. Daniel turned back to Elara. Her head was bowed, her hair falling across her face. He saw the bruises on her skin, the hunger in her eyes. Something inside him stirred, anger, pity, and a strange sense of duty. "This is not justice," he said firmly. The elder stepped closer, his tone sharp. "Outsider, leave now. She is no concern of yours. If you interfere, the chains will claim you too." The threat hung heavy in the air. Daniel looked at the crowd. Their silence was heavy, but their eyes carried fear. He realized then, this was not justice. This was control. These people were not only punishing her, they were hiding something. That night, when the village fell quiet, Daniel returned. He moved like a shadow, careful not to wake the guards. Elara's eyes opened slowly when she heard his steps. Her lips parted, but no words came. He knelt again, pulling out a piece of bread from his pack. He held it near her mouth. She hesitated. "If they see you," she whispered weakly. "Then let them," Daniel answered. "Eat." She bit into the bread, her body trembling as the taste filled her mouth. Tears stung her eyes. It had been so long since she felt the weight of food on her tongue. He gave her water next, just enough to keep her alive. Her voice grew stronger, though still soft. "Why help me? You do not know me." Daniel's eyes burned. "Because no one else will." Elara looked at him for a long time. His face was strange to her, different from her people, but his eyes carried something she had not seen in many moons. Kindness. "You do not understand," she said quietly. "They will not forgive. If they see you with me, they will chain you too." "Then I will wear chains beside you," he replied. Her heart shook at his words. No one had spoken like that before. No one had cared enough to risk anything for her. As the night deepened, Daniel asked, "Wait, why do they hate you so much?" Her gaze fell to the ground. "Because I saw what they tried to hide." He leaned closer. "What did you see?" Her voice dropped to a whisper, almost lost in the wind. "Darkness. A deal made in secret. Shadows that do not belong to this world." Daniel froze. Her words carried weight, like the edge of a blade. "What kind of deal?" he asked. She shook her head. "Not here. Not yet. The walls have ears." The sound of footsteps echoed in the distance. Daniel pulled back into the shadows. Guards passed through the square, their eyes scanning the darkness. Elara lowered her head, pretending to be asleep. Daniel melted into the night, waiting for them to leave. When the guards were gone, he whispered to her from the shadows, "Hold on, I will return." Her eyes opened, weak but shining. For the first time since her punishment began, she felt something strange inside her chest. Hope. But she also knew hope was dangerous. Hope could get him killed. The fourth night was colder than the rest. The moon was hidden behind clouds, and the wind howled through the village streets. Elara sat in silence, her body trembling against the chains. Her strength was almost gone. Her eyes, once filled with fire, now looked like fading embers. But she was not alone. Daniel moved through the shadows, quiet as a hunter. He had waited until the last lantern in the village went dark. He carried no torch, no light, only a small bag slung across his shoulder. His heart pounded as he crossed the square. Every step was dangerous. If the villagers saw him, they would drag him to the chains beside her. Still, he came. Elara's head lifted weakly at the sound of his footsteps. For a moment, fear touched her eyes. But when she recognized his face, that fear softened into something else. Relief. "You should not be here," she whispered, her voice faint. Daniel knelt beside her. "Then why am I here?" Her lips trembled. "Because you are a fee." He smiled, though his eyes stayed serious. "Maybe, but a fool who cannot watch someone suffer." From his bag, he pulled out more bread, wrapped in cloth, and a small flask of water. He pressed them gently to her hands, though the chains made her grip weak. "Eat," he urged. Her eyes filled with tears. For a moment, she did not move. Then hunger won, and she took small bites, slow and careful. She drank next, just enough to keep her alive. When she finished, she whispered, "Why risk this? Why risk them catching you?" Daniel leaned close, his voice steady. "Because silence is the weapon of cowards, and I will not be a coward." The square was quiet, but not empty. Somewhere behind dark windows, eyes watched. Whispers passed from house to house. "The human feeds her. He will bring ruin on himself. The elder will not allow this." But no one came out. No one stopped him. Not yet. Daniel studied the chains that bound her, heavy iron cuffs locked into the stone pillar. He touched them with his hand, feeling their strength. "These chains will kill you," he said. Elara's gaze dropped. "That is the plan." His jaw tightened. "Then I will break them." Her eyes widened, sharp even in her weakness. "No, you must not." "Why?" he asked. "Because if they know you touch these chains, they will not stop at punishing you. They will hunt you too." Daniel's voice hardened. "Then let them hunt." Her chest rose and fell with shaky breath. She wanted to argue, but her voice failed. Deep inside, she feared not for herself, but for him. He did not know the power of the elder. He did not know the darkness that had already spread through this village. Silence hung heavy between them. Only the sound of chains rattling in the wind filled the night. At last, Elara spoke. "Do you know why they chained me?" Daniel looked at her. "Because you spoke the truth." Her lips pressed together. Slowly she nodded. "Yes, I saw something. A meeting in the council hall. The elder and his circle making deals in shadows. They spoke with voices not their own. There was another presence. Something that does not belong to this world." Daniel leaned closer. "What kind of presence?" Her eyes darkened. "Not a man, not a creature I know. It was like a shadow wearing skin. Its words burned in the air. It gave them power, and in return, they gave it loyalty." Daniel's blood ran cold. "And you saw this?" She nodded. "I saw, and when I spoke, they chained me. They called me a liar, and the people believed them." For a moment, neither spoke. The night itself seemed to listen. The wind carried their whispers into the dark. Daniel's hands curled into fists. "Then the truth is worse than chains. The truth is dangerous." "Yes," Elara said. "Dangerous for both of us. That is why you must not return again. Leave this place. Forget me." Her words struck him like a blade, but he shook his head. "I will not leave you. Not now." The sound of footsteps echoed nearby. Both froze. Guards were coming, their boots striking the stone paths. Torches glowed in the distance. Daniel quickly pulled back into the shadows. Elara lowered her head, pretending to sleep. 2 guards passed through the square, their voices sharp. "The elder grows impatient. If the human interferes again, he will suffer. Better the outsider dies with her than brings trouble on us all." Their laughter faded as they walked away. Elara's heart pounded. She turned her face slightly toward the shadows where Daniel hid. For a moment she thought he might be gone, but then she saw his eyes still watching her. He whispered so low only she could hear, "Tomorrow night, I will return." Her lips parted, but no sound came. She wanted to say no. She wanted to protect him, but the word would not leave her mouth. because deep inside, she wanted him to return. When he finally vanished into the night, Elara closed her eyes. The chains seemed. It bound her. The hunger still burned, but something new stirred inside her chest. The night was restless. The clouds covered the moon, and the wind carried whispers through the empty streets. Elara sat chained to the stone pillar, her eyes half closed, her body weak, but her mind was sharp. She was waiting. And then, like before, he came. Daniel stepped from the shadows, his boots silent on the stone. He carried no light, only a small pack on his shoulder. His face was tired, but his eyes were steady. "You're still alive," he whispered, kneeling beside her. A faint smile touched her cracked lips. "Disappointed?" He shook his head. "Relieved." From his pack, he pulled bread and water. She ate slowly, her hands trembling. Each bite gave her strength. Each drop of water brought her back from the edge of death. When she finished, her eyes lifted to his. "You should not be here," she said again. "And yet I am," Daniel replied. The square was quiet, but Elara knew the village watched even in silence. Every window was an eye. Every shadow held ears. "Why do you keep helping me?" she asked. Daniel's voice was calm, but his words carried weight. "Because I cannot walk away from the truth, and I think you know something they fear." Her eyes darkened. She lowered her voice to a whisper. "If I speak, you may not believe me. Try me," he said. Elara leaned back against the pillar. Her voice shook, not from weakness, but from memory. "I saw them," she began. "The elder and his council. I was sent to bring messages one night. I was not meant to enter the chamber, but the door was left open. I heard voices inside, voices that were not theirs." Her breath slowed. Her eyes grew distant, as if she was reliving it. They spoke with shadows. Figures stood in the dark, their faces hidden, their forms shifting like smoke. I could not see what they truly were, but I knew they were not of this world. They promised the council power, protection, control over the people. And in return, the elder swore loyalty. He gave them something. Daniel leaned closer. "What did he give?" Eolara's voice dropped even lower. "Us. He gave them us." Daniel's stomach tightened. "You mean your people?" She nodded slowly. "Yes. He promised that when the time came, our people would serve the shadows. Some would even be sacrificed, all in silence, all hidden, so no one would resist." Her eyes burned with pain. "I saw this. I heard this. I ran to tell the others, but when I spoke, they called me a liar. The elder told them I had lost my mind, and the people believed him." Her chains rattled as she tried to lift her hands. "That is why I am here, not because I betrayed them, because I told the truth they feared." Daniel sat in silence, his fists tight. He had seen corruption before, seen leaders twist power for themselves. But this was more than corruption. This was something darker. "You are saying," he said slowly, "your elder made a pact with things not human, not even of your kind." Her lips pressed together. "Yes. And no one believes you?" "They do not want to believe. It is easier to obey than to question." Her voice broke. "And so they chained me. They will let me die, and the truth will die with me." Daniel's jaw hardened. "Not if I live to tell it." Her eyes widened. "No, you must not speak of this. If they know you carry my words, they will kill you too. You are an outsider. They will not show mercy." "Then I will not ask for mercy," he said. Her heart pounded. She wanted to argue, to tell him to leave, to save himself, but his eyes were steady, and something in them made her believe he would not turn away. The night grew colder. A dog barked in the distance. The sound of boots echoed faintly through the streets. Guards again. Daniel leaned closer. "Tell me everything. What else did you hear?" Eolara's voice shook. "The shadows spoke of a time soon. They said the sky would break and they would come. Openly. The council promised to prepare the people, to weaken them with fear, to silence voices like mine. When the day comes, there will be no resistance." Her eyes closed. "That is why they must kill me. Because if I speak again, others might listen, and if others listen, the shadows may lose their hold." Daniel's hands gripped the chains. For a moment, he wanted to break them right there, to drag her out of the village and into freedom. But the sound of approaching guards stopped him. Elara's eyes snapped open. "Go," she whispered. "I can fight." "No," she cut him off. "If they see you here, all is lost. You cannot fight them all." The footsteps grew louder. The glow of torches touched the edge of the square. Daniel hesitated, his heart screaming to stay. But at last, he melted back into the shadows. The guards passed, their eyes sweeping the square. One spat on the ground near her. "Still alive," he muttered. The elder grows impatient. They laughed and moved on. When they were gone, Elara's head fell forward. Her body shook with weakness, but her mind was sharp. She whispered to the night, though only the stars could hear. "The truth is out now, and the truth will not stay hidden forever." Far in the shadows, Daniel watched her. His fists were clenched, his heart heavy. He knew then that her fight was now his fight too. The village slept, but the square remained alive with shadows. The wind pushed dust across the stones, carrying with it the rattle of chains. Elara sat slumped against the pillar, her body trembling, her breaths uneven. Her strength was nearly gone, but her spirit still clung to life. From the darkness, Daniel appeared again. His boots made no sound, his face was set with determination. He carried no food this time, no water. Tonight, he carried something else, a plan. When he knelt beside her, Elara opened her tired eyes. "You came back," she whispered. "I told you I would," Daniel said. His voice was low but firm. Her gaze flicked to his empty hands. "No bread, no water." He shook his head. "Not tonight. Tonight, I came to free you." Her eyes widened in shock. She shook her head weakly. "No, you must not. If they catch you, they will," Daniel interrupted. "If I wait any longer, you will not survive another week in these chains, and I will not stand by while they kill you." Her heart beat faster, fear and hope twisting inside her. "You don't understand. They are watching. They are always watching." "I don't care," Daniel said. His eyes burned with defiance. "Chains are meant to be broken." He pulled a small tool from his pack, a piece of metal sharpened like a wedge. He pressed it into the lock on her wrist. The iron groaned, refusing at first, but Daniel's hands were steady. Elara's breath caught. Every sound felt louder than thunder in the silence. She glanced toward the houses, her voice trembling. "Stop, please, if they see." Daniel looked at her, his voice sharp. "Do you want to die here?" Her lips parted, but no answer came. She closed her eyes. No, she did not want to die, but she did not want him to die either. The lock groaned again. With a sharp crack, it gave way. The iron cuff slipped from her wrist. Blood rushed back into her hand, and she gasped at the pain of freedom. "One down," Daniel whispered. He moved to the next shackle. Her eyes filled with tears, not only from pain but from the weight of what was happening. For days she had been left to rot. For days no one had touched her chains except to tighten them. And now, here was a stranger, risking everything to set her free. But the night was not silent for long. A door creaked open in the distance. A dog barked. Footsteps echoed faintly. Elara froze. "They're coming." Daniel's jaw tightened. "Then I'll move faster." The second lock snapped. Her other wrist came free. Blood and bruises marked her skin, but her arms were hers again. He bent to her ankles, his tool scraped. The lock, sparks flying in the dark. The footsteps grew louder. Voices called in the night. Torches flared at the edge of the street. Elara's heart pounded. "Daniel, stop." But he did not stop. He pressed harder, faster. At last, with a sharp clang, the final lock broke. The chains fell to the ground. For a moment, Elara could not move. Her legs shook, her body weak. Daniel caught her, holding her steady. "You're free," he whispered. She wanted to smile, but fear crushed her chest. The torches were closer now. Guards were coming. Daniel pulled her arm. "Come, we must run." She staggered to her feet, her body screaming with pain. Her first steps were clumsy, like a child learning to walk. But Daniel's grip was strong. He guided her into the shadows. The square lit up behind them. Guards entered, their eyes falling on the empty chains. "She's gone," one shouted. The other snarled. "The human! He freed her!" Their voices split the night, waking the village. Doors flew open. People rushed out, whispers turning to shouts. The sound of alarms spread like fire. Daniel and Elara slipped through narrow alleys, moving fast but quiet. Her breath came in gasps, her body weak, but she forced herself to keep going. "Faster," Daniel urged. "They will search everywhere." They reached the edge of the village. Beyond lay the dark fields, open and endless. For the first time in days, the chains no longer held her. For the first time, she could run, but behind them torches blazed. The elder's voice rang through the night, cold and furious. "Find them! Do not let them escape! The girl must die! The outsider must die with her!" The sound of the crowd grew louder. Dozens of feet pounded the ground. Elara looked at Daniel, her eyes full of fear. "They will never stop. You should have left me." Daniel's voice was iron. "I told you. I will not turn away." They ran into the fields, the grass whispering around their legs. The torches followed, spreading across the land like a river of fire. Alara stumbled, nearly falling. Daniel caught her again, pulling her forward. "Don't stop," he said. "Not now." Her body screamed for rest, but her spirit refused. The memory of the chains was still fresh. The memory of silence still burned in her chest. And now, hope burned beside it. She ran. Behind them, the village roared with anger. The night that began in silence now thundered with the sound of a hunt. But Alara and Daniel kept moving. Step by step, breath by breath, they vanished into the dark horizon. The night was alive with fire. Torches blazed behind them, spreading across the fields like a storm of light. Voices shouted in anger, boots pounded against the earth, and the hunt began. Alara stumbled through the tall grass, her body weak from days of chains. Every step sent pain through her legs. Her breath came in gasps, sharp and broken. Daniel stayed beside her, holding her arm, guiding her forward. "Keep going," he whispered. "We can't stop now." "I can't," she gasped. "You can," he said firmly. "You must." They moved deeper into the fields, but the voices followed. The villagers spread out, their torches glowing like angry stars. The elder's voice cut through the night, cold and merciless. "Find them. Bring me the girl. Kill the outsider." The words echoed like thunder. Alara shivered. She knew the elder would not stop. He had sworn loyalty to shadows, and her survival was a threat to that pact. The grass gave way to rocky ground. The land sloped upward toward dark hills. Daniel pulled her toward them. "If we reach the hills, we can hide," he said. But Alara shook her head weakly. "They will find us. They will not stop." Daniel's eyes burned in the dark. "Then we will not stop either." As they climbed, Alara's strength began to fail. Her body had been starved, beaten, and chained for too long. Her legs gave out, and she fell to her knees. Daniel knelt beside her, his hands gripping her shoulders. "Stand, please, stand." Her eyes lifted to his, full of pain. "Why do you fight for me? You could have left. You should have left." He shook his head. "Because no one else would. Because you deserve to live. Because the truth you carry cannot die here." Her chest tightened. His words struck deeper than the chains ever had. With trembling arms, she pushed herself up. Daniel helped her to her feet, and together they climbed higher. Below them, the villagers spread across the field. The glow of torches lit the night like fireflies. The sound of horns carried through the wind. The hunt was growing larger, louder, closer. Daniel looked back, his jaw tight. "We can't outrun them forever." Alara's voice was faint. "Then we must outlast them." They reached the ridge of the hill. The land dropped steeply into a valley of stone and shadows. There was no clear path, only darkness below. Daniel looked at her. "If we go down there, they may lose our trail." "And if we fall?" she asked. He gave a grim smile. "Then at least we fall free." Before she could answer, a horn blared behind them. Villagers had reached the base of the hill. Torches lit the slope like a river of fire. "Go!" Daniel urged. He guided her down the ridge, careful but quick. Rocks slid under their feet, the descent dangerous and steep. Halfway down, a voice rang out above them. The elder stood at the ridge, torchlight burning in his hand, his shadow long and sharp. "You cannot run," he thundered. "The chains will claim you both. The truth will die tonight." Alara froze, her eyes wide. The elder's words carried power, a strange weight that pressed against her chest. She remembered that voice from the council chamber, the voice that had sworn loyalty to shadows. Daniel placed himself between her and the elder, his voice fierce. "You will not take her." The elder laughed, cruel and dark. "Outsider, you know nothing of what you fight. She is already marked. Her life belongs to forces you cannot imagine." Alara's voice shook, but it rose with fire. "No, my life is my own, and so is the truth." The elder's smile twisted into fury. He raised his hand and shadows seemed to move behind him, swirling like smoke. For a moment it looked as though the night itself obeyed him. Daniel grabbed Alara's hand. "We move now." Together they slid down the last stretch of the ridge, stumbling into the valley below. Stones cut their hands, but they kept running. Behind them, the elder's voice roared in anger. The villagers poured down the hill, chasing with fire and fury. The valley was dark, filled with jagged rocks and twisting paths. Daniel led her through, moving fast, choosing turns at random. The voices grew fainter, but the danger never left. At last they reached a small cave hidden in the rocks. Daniel pulled her inside. They collapsed together, breathless, hearts pounding. For the first time that night, silence returned. Alara leaned against the wall, her body shaking. "We cannot stay long. They will search even here." Daniel nodded. Then we rest for a moment and we move again. Her eyes met his, filled with gratitude and fear. You do not understand what you have done. By freeing me, you have made yourself their enemy. The Elder's pact is strong. He will not forgive. Daniel's voice was calm but firm. Let him come. I have seen enough to know the truth must live, and if it lives through you, then I will fight for it. Her eyes filled with tears. For the first time in days, not tears of pain, but of hope. Outside, the wind howled through the valley. The torches spread across the land, the villagers searching like predators in the dark. The Elder's voice echoed faintly, full of rage and promise. They cannot run forever. When the dawn comes, we will find them, and when we do, the chains will return. But in the cave, Alara whispered to herself, her voice steady and strong. No chains. Not ever again. And Daniel placed his hand on hers, his eyes steady. Then we fight. Together. The darkness pressed in around them, but for the first time, it did not feel like a prison.